startup called Tiro.health. I'm actually coming from a background in research, genetics, and I stumbled in this startup because of a problem that also is present and was present during my research in bioinformatics, is that there's a lot of a lot of data. Globally, there's many projects that you can use, but a lot of data is not useful. I had spent lots of time making data useful for research, and that's also a thing that Tiro tries to do in the medical world, where we want to use FHIR to help medical experts make structured data and make useful data that we can exchange and make a better medical world. And you can see here an example. We use FHIR questionnaires, so the medical professionalist can fill it in, and we can output FHIR, CSV with SQL on FHIR, and other formats. But making it easy for a medical professionalist to fill these things in, we could also use voice instead of clicking and filling a form. And that's what I'm going to talk about. So there's a lot of buzz at the moment about voice and making like automatic AI transcription, SOAP generators, like smart dictation. But most of the time, it's from voice to like a structured text. And we actually think it's much better if we could like make FHIR resources out of voice. But also a transcription is also useful for the medical professionals to still see what he said, but in the background we can also fill in FHIR resources. And as we use questionnaires, because you can modify them and you can extract other FHIR resources out of a questionnaire to make a visualization, we did this approach, and we think it's also a very useful approach. Now, how do we make an AI model produce FHIR? This is like a simple API that most of the LLMs deliver. And here, it's very important that we use structured data. With structured data, you can make the model produce actually output that is based on your JSON schema. And here in Python, we use Pydantic to generate this JSON schema. And here you can see, you can just give a transcription, a system prompt, a user prompt, and it will output what you want. And it's in a model, it's in a JSON schema. So what do you think then? Maybe we could just generate a questionnaire response based on the questionnaire, and then ask the LLM to just give me all the answers in that questionnaire response. And we also try to do that, but that doesn't work. It's also not really a good approach. And why is this not a good approach? Because it can get very big, a questionnaire. Like, it could work for a questionnaire for 4 questions, a small questionnaire, or it can be very big, like 300 questions. So the approach we used is like what we would do with a human, is ask 1 question at a time. And the other thing also is that many fields from a questionnaire to a questionnaire response, you know what the link ID is, you know the type, the text, so you can construct this questionnaire, and the only thing that the LLM has to generate is the answer based on the transcription. So we actually just want to prompt an LLM for the answer, and we build the questionnaire response ourselves based on the questionnaire. And this is how it looks. So you have a simplified questionnaire with 2 answers, and there can be more. Then we ask the LLM for just the answer for each question, and we give it a transcription where it can extract the answer. And then we just fill it in our questionnaire response. So all the technical stuff is in the background. We use an algorithm to fill it in, but the really the output is only the answer that has been asked to the LLM. And this is also very nice because the output of an LLM is one of the biggest bottlenecks for latency. And in a voice tool, it's very important to have a fast response. But also cost is also decreased because you have only a very small output. And that's also how we approach this, to look for a good quality questionnaire response, but also a very fast latency. And model size was one of the biggest. So we had some interns generate questionnaires and transcriptions, and then we used some models, I think 9, and then we looked at what the performance was. So you see the request time in seconds, so how fast they are, and the incorrectness of the answers. And the incorrectness of the answers was evaluated on, for coding items in questionnaires, it's just a 1-to-1 match if it's in the benchmark. And for other, we used an LLM to evaluate if it was correct. And then you can see now in our application, in our proof of concept, we use GPT 4.1 mini now because it's the most performant model for us. So model size you have the output token size that I already told. So the less tokens a model has to generate, it's much faster. But also quality-wise, if you have an LLM that has to generate a lot of tokens in one go, it's expensive, so there can be a lot of errors. There's more, there could be more errors. Input token size is a thing that we increased because the latency is not that dependent on the input token size, but the quality can go much better if you have a lot of context. And then also parallelizing. This was a big thing because you can ask these questions one at a time because these prompts are stateless. They don't need the questionnaire response constantly, like the updated. You can just parallelize these API calls, and it can be very fast. So, of course, there are some challenges with this. This is very simplified, because FHIR questionnaires can have nested questions. They can have repeating groups. But most of the time, we think about what would a human do. They will click, I want to add a group. I want to add a blood sample, if there are 2 in the transcription. And we also ask the LLM, are there multiple blood samples in the transcription? And then he will add a group, and then you can make a pipeline of asking questions to the LLM. Also, data quality is important. If you ask all questions, he will give all answers, but not all answers are in the transcription. Some might be missing. So we also have a validation step. Just like with humans, we would make a report, and then another person will check if the report is correct based on the transcription. So we have a pipeline of ask to fill in the question and validate the question. And then also it's sensitive data, because it's patient information. So we tried local LLMs with Olama, but the performance was, with our tests, not that good as the big companies. So now we're looking for contract-based approach. So for example, with Google or Azure, you can have a private data storage of what happens in the API. So it's secure. Then I have a small presentation of how it looks in our app now. It's our first proof of concept. And so the medical professional speaks, and it's transcribed, and then he can fill it in. And then we use the prompts that I showed to fill in the questionnaire response with it. And it's quite fast because of that parallelizing. It's, I think, 3 to 7 seconds for each API call. And if you have a lot of RPM, a request per minute on an API, you can have 3 to 7 seconds of latency when you click the button. So yeah, that's I think about it. Also, we didn't focus a lot on the speech part, the speech to transcription, because there's a lot of models already present, and making your own model is kind of hard to compete with the bigger companies. This one uses a hidden Markov model app in the application for streaming, but if we don't use streaming, it would be better to use a Whisper or other. There's also an option to use the speech directly in the API, so you can also skip the transcription. But we didn't try it yet, but it's probably maybe even better in latency-wise. Yeah. So that's it. I don't know if there are any questions. Thank you for listening.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. Do you have a public demo where we can try all this beautiful stuff?
A public demo, well, we have some trials on our application, so I think on the website you can apply for a trial and then we will send you an invite. But this one is very early, this proof of concept, so it's on a feature flag internally, but it will probably in a couple of months, we will release it to the trials and our customers. Yeah.
Thanks so much for your presentation. Very cool stuff. If a clinician doesn't ask a question about a particular thing, but you still send the request to the LLM because, well, you don't know if it was asked or not, and the LLM perhaps hallucinates something back, and a thing gets toggled here that it shouldn't have been. Have you had that happen?
Well, so we tried an approach where we asked the question, and if it wasn't present, it wouldn't generate a response. But you give it then two, it has to do two functions. And most of the time that doesn't work that well, so we use consecutive calls where we ask all questions, they are all filled, and then we evaluate based on the transcription if it's correct. And that approach was much better. It increases the latency with 3 seconds for the API call, but it's kind of fine if the quality is very good. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Nick from Austria. So you mentioned you had to do the validation part because of the hallucination and so on. Have you done it with another prompt, or what's the solution for you?
The validation for like the intern study, or just
like
this?
The hallucination, if it...
Well, so it's actually just that validation step, and you can use multiple. So you have the LLM give the answer, and then another LLM that evaluates that answer. So it says, is it present in the transcription? No, it leaves it off, but also, is it correct based on the transcription? And if it's no, then and the more of these validation steps you use, it will be better, but then the latency is, and also you can use a better model, like a larger model, and maybe it will also be performant. It's like a tug between latency and quality. What's more important? But also the medical professionalist will also look at this because it's AI generated, so they have to look and validate it themselves too. It will never be 100%, just like us humans. We also make mistakes.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
I was wondering, in questionnaires, obviously there is a doctor and a patient talking together.
Yeah.
Does this tool also work during the questionnaire, or is this more of a doctor afterwards telling the system what the results are?
Yeah, well, we have that question a lot because most people think it's just one thing, voice to data, but like with pathologists, they want to have a completely different experience where they can say next question, fill it in, next question. Well, now you have to say the questions like the tumor, you have to say tumor, otherwise he won't know about what you're talking about. So here it's more of You can have just the doctor sitting in front of the screen and telling what has to be filled in, but he also has to give the context. But there could also be an approach where you say, next question, fill it in, but that's a completely different story. But an ambient with a patient and a doctor, this is also possible with this solution. But yeah, it's really important to say the context, so that's a bit of the hard part.
Thank you. That was an excellent presentation. My name is Talat, and I'm a gynecologist from Australia. So I'm also an ambassador for an AI scribe company.
Yeah.
And so my question is that does this integrate with the practice management software of the clinician? And I appreciate this is a pathology-facing task, which is usually slightly different to the actual conversation that we're having with the patient right in front of us. So in my mind, what would help my workflow would be that if I'm speaking to a patient, some of this is pre-filling in addition to my notes, and then I can come back and say, oh, okay, I have not gotten the question number 10, for example, and then I would put in all the residual bits. What are your thoughts?
Well, so like integration with that. So now we do the speech, but for example, if you also have an application that makes the transcription or the summary, we can also put it like it's just a text box. So the application is actually just filling it in, and you could have both. Well, so your summary will go into that text box, and then you can fill in a questionnaire, but also have yours AI or scribe summary. So it can work into, it can, The only problem is still you have to look and validate. That's always a thing. Yeah. But it's an easy way. It's voice, but voice is also transcription, so it's actually text to questionnaire response. No problem.
Hi. Have you tried to give the model the complete questionnaire, then the text, and then ask him match the text to the questionnaire and produce me questionnaire response?
So you give the full questionnaire, and then?
You give the questionnaire resource.
Yeah.
You give him the complete interview and say match this text to the questionnaire and create me questionnaire responses. Because we actually did it, and it's actually quite helpful, and it works with quite good accuracy, to be honest. So then you basically could save asking question by question. I'm just not sure how it's in terms of cost.
Well, so the generation at one it's a lot of tokens. A giant questionnaire response. You also don't know how big a questionnaire is. We have a questionnaire build model they can make their own questionnaire, and if it's 500 questions, okay, an AI model can have a lot of output tokens now, these days. Previously, it was very short, but still, it's unpredictable. And the more output it has to give, it's more error-prone, I would think. But the latency is, for me, the biggest one. If you would put in this transcription and then just ask for a questionnaire response, those tokens are, now I do 7 tokens, but 100 times if it's a questionnaire with 100 questions, and that will be 3 seconds because it's at the same time. While with the questionnaire response, it will build all these tokens, and it's a lot of tokens, so it will take maybe 30 seconds to a minute.
A quick one, because then there's lunch.
No, I just asked if you have tried it, because there are ways to mitigate this. I mean, those theoretical thoughts we already haven't tried them out. But have you tried it yourself?
I didn't try like big. I have tried making a questionnaire response with just a questionnaire, but it takes too long with the approach that we use.
Okay, there are ways to mitigate this. But
okay.
Okay, thank you everyone, and thank you Tom for the nice presentation. Now I think lunch will be served very soon. Thanks.